In December of 2017, I took an amazing expedition down to the bottom of the world, the continent of Antarctica. It's a dramatic, mystical, and elusive bucket list destination. It's about a 68-hour trip from Boston, but it was broken up by pit stops in Buenos Aeries, as well as Ushuaia, Argentina, which is literally the last land stop. Coincidentally, our ship was also named Ushuaia. Not to be confused with a Disney cruise, this vessel was a small ship, originally built for oceanic research, but it's now an ice-strengthened vessel designed for navigating the treacherous waters of the polar regions. And we were about to embark on a wild ride to Antarctica with 70-some-odd photographers on board. The cabins were cozy, serviceable but hardly cruise luxury. Our twin beds had side rails, and we were just about to discover what those were used for. Furniture, chairs, tables, everything was bolted to the floor, and we were about to earn our stripes as an Antarctican. Leaving Ushuaia through the Beagle Channel was a beautiful ride. Then came our lovely trip through the Drake Passage, known to have the roughest seas in the entire world for some 500 miles. Some 20,000 sailors have lost their lives exploring these waters, and I took my seasickness medication and a whole bunch of little pink pills, which I'm not sure what those were, that were issued by the doctor on board, so I actually never really got seasick. We were hoping for the Drake Lake, but instead we encountered the Drake Shake. And we were lucky. We had 2 chances to enjoy this Drake Passage, and enjoy is a relative term, of course. It was a rocky ride in both directions. Our waiters were skilled at walking at an angle with the rocking ship, carrying trays full of dishes. Several times, though, a rogue wave literally sent china, water pitchers, food, and the like flying through the air and crashing into the wall. Several people encountered black eyes during the trip, and I literally was airborne, and I smacked into a steel wall not once, but twice. And one very unlucky passenger received a compound fracture and had to be airlifted out to a hospital in Chile. In retrospect, I'm not sure how I even slept through the worst of it, but I did, and I have the stories to tell about it. Since we were a small ship, we were able to get into areas that larger ships were not. The laws only allow 100 people at a time on shore, so we were able to have 2 to 3 wet landings each day. Antarctica is still unspoiled. In order to not introduce non-native species and diseases, we actually had to wash our boots before and after each landing. Unless you're near a colony of squawking, honking penguins, the silence in Antarctica is deafening. The only sounds are the crunch of the snow beneath your feet and periodically ice cracking in the unexpectedly warm midday sun. You don't have to wait too long to find the penguins. They didn't care so much that we were there, and they carried on with their antics. Seriously, I could sit and watch these guys all day long. They're like little children. Some create a huge ruckus, squawking and flapping their wings. Even some penguins motor on all fours, sitting on top of their fat stomach. Others just hike up and down the mountains on their penguin highways. These little pathways up and down the mountain that they make for themselves when they go in search of food, and all eventually lead to the sea. We had strict orders to stay off the penguin highways, which meant periodically sinking into thigh-deep snow. And the rule is penguins always have the right of way, and if you were in their path, they would just stand and look at you until you moved aside so they could get through with their day. Once these clumsy little clowns reach the water, though, they're truly a sight to behold. They're very fast and sometimes porpoising out of the water. They can swim 4 to 7 miles an hour, and the gentoo penguins can swim up to 22 miles an hour. It's important to keep from becoming lunch to a leopard seal. The icebergs are incredible. Although we've all seen photos in movies and books, nothing can adequately convey the overwhelming, otherworldly experience of actually being there. Many look like sculptures, and it's easy to see different formations similar to when you would look at clouds in the sky as a kid and see faces and animals. Usually only 10% of the iceberg is visible, showing above water. Yep, that tip of the iceberg thing. And because of the calm waters, you can see the dark blue or dark green ice below the surface. Each was beautiful in its own special way. Meanwhile, back on board, one night we were treated to some great Argentinian beef grilled out on the deck, and one of our waiters definitely enjoyed bringing out his penguin suit now and then. Nico Harbor was one of the most beautiful places we visited. The calm waters mirrored the incredible ice and mountains under the most brilliant blue sky. The peacefulness of this harbor was just incredible. I really could not stop looking at it. It was the Christmas season, so the staff decorated the boat and even put up a small tree. Well, tied up a small tree, otherwise it would have been a missile. We would bring back ice for drinks from our Zodiac excursions, and this ice on the ice bar was actually from an iceberg. A big surprise was a wedding of a couple from Maine. In hindsight, though, what a better place to be married. Amazing scenery and 70 photographers providing lots of free photos. Pretty smart if you ask me. There were plenty of wildlife sightings, and several whales spent quite a bit of time teasing us at the side of the boat one morning. Deception Island was fascinating. The island is a caldera of an active volcano. It was previously a whaling station about 100 years ago when whales were hunted to near extinction. Their blubber was used for oil. The remains of the boilers and tanks, a scientific station house, and even an aircraft hangar still remain, set off against the black beach. Old whale bones left over from the boilers dot the landscape, and several colonies of chinstrap penguins now call this home. Crossing the Drake Passage coming home was actually a bit worse than going down. We were actually detoured around quite a large storm, and those bed rails came in quite handy one night.
What the fuck did you do to me? What the fuck is this? This is the Twilight Zone. I keep on buying internet access codes, and I'm in an ocean that I don't understand. It's like a washing machine.
It is a washing machine.
In addition to a wedding, a couple of storms, and a medvac operation, we also witnessed a little tsunami. A huge chunk of ice calved as we were headed to an island, and the large wave came crashing onto shore, and one of the folks on our trip was actually on land and was able to capture it on video. Those crazy little penguins, they're running for their lives. It's hysterical. So I had to include that video here because I can watch this thing over and over and over again.